From the Gilded Age, 1873, by Mark Twain. Washington was not able to ignore the cold entirely. He was nearly as close to the stove as he could get, and yet he could not persuade himself that he felt the slightest heat, notwithstanding the isinglass door was still gently and serenely glowing. He tried to get a trifle closer to the stove, and the consequence was he tripped the supporting poker and the stove door tumbled to the floor. And then there was a revelation. There was nothing in the stove but a lighted tallow candle. The poor youth blushed and felt as if he must die with shame. But the colonel was only disconcerted for a moment. He straightway found his voice again. "A little idea of my own, Washington, one of the greatest things in the world. You must write and tell your father about it. Don't forget that now. I have been reading up some European scientific reports. Friend of mine, Count Fudgier, sent them to me. Sends me all sorts of things from Paris. He thinks the world of me, Fudgier does. Well, I saw that the Academy of France had been testing the properties of heat, and they came to the conclusion that it was a non-conductor or something like that. And of course its influence must necessarily be deadly in nervous organizations with excitable temperaments, especially where there is any tendency toward rheumatic affections. Bless you, I saw in a moment what was the matter with us, and says I, out goes your fires. No more slow torture and certain death for me, sir. What you want is the appearance of heat, not the heat itself. That's the idea. Well, how to do it was the next thing. I just put my head to work, pegged away a couple of days, and here you are. Rheumatism. Why a man can't any more start a case of rheumatism in this house than he can shake an opinion out of a mummy. Stove with a candle in it and transparent door. That's it. It has been the salvation of this family. Don't you fail to write your father about it, Washington. And tell him the idea is mine. I 1,000 no more conceited than most people, I reckon, but you know it is human nature for a man to want credit for a thing like that. The supper at Colonel Sellers's was not sumptuous, in the beginning, but it improved on acquaintance. That is to say, that what Washington regarded at first sight as mere lowly potatoes presently became awe-inspiring agricultural productions that had been reared in some ducal garden beyond the sea, under the sacred eye of the Duke himself, who had sent them to Sellers. The bread was from corn which could be grown in only one favored locality in the earth, and only a favored few could get it. The Rio coffee, which at first seemed execrable to the taste, took to itself an improved flavor when Washington was told to drink it slowly, and not hurry what should be a lingering luxury in order to be fully appreciated. It was from the private stores of a Brazilian nobleman with an unrememberable name. The colonel's tongue was a magician's wand that turned dried apples into figs and water into wine, as easily as it could change a hovel into a palace and present poverty into imminent future riches. Washington slept in a cold bed in a carpetless room and woke up in a palace in the morning. At least the palace lingered during the moment that he was rubbing his eyes and getting his bearings. And then it disappeared, and he recognized that the colonel's inspiring talk had been influencing his dreams. Fatigue had made him sleep late. When he entered the sitting room, he noticed that the old haircloth sofa was absent. When he sat down to breakfast, the colonel tossed $6 or $7 in bills on the table, counted them over, said he was a little short and must call upon his banker, then returned the bills to his wallet with the indifferent air of a man who is used to money. The breakfast was not an improvement upon the supper, but the colonel talked it up and transformed it into an oriental feast. By and by, he said, I intend to look out for you, Washington, my boy. I hunted up a place for you yesterday, but I am not referring to that now. That is a mere livelihood, mere bread and butter. But when I say I mean to look out for you, I mean something very different. I mean to put things in your way that will make a mere livelihood a trifling thing. I put you in a way to make more money than you 100 ever know what to do with. You 100 be right here where I can put my hand on you when anything turns up. Chapter 1. V got some prodigious operations on foot, but I 1,000 keeping quiet, mum's the word. Your old hand don't go around powwowing and letting everybody see his K-yards and find out his little game. But all in good time, Washington, all in good time. You 100 see. Now, there's an operation in corn that looks well. Some New York men are trying to get me to go into it, buy up all the growing crops and just boss the market when they mature. Ah, I tell you, it's a great thing. And it only costs a trifle. 2 millions or 2.5 will do it. I haven't exactly promised yet. There's no hurry. The more indifferent I seem, the more anxious those fellows will get. And then there is the hog speculation. That's bigger still. We've got quiet men at work. He was very impressive here, mousing around to get propositions out of all the farmers in the whole West and Northwest for the hog crop, and other agents quietly getting propositions and terms out of all the manufactories. And don't you see, if we can get all the hogs and all the slaughterhouses into our hands on the dead quiet, Hugh, it would take 3 ships to carry the money. I've looked into the thing, calculated all the chances for and all the chances against, and though I shake my head and hesitate and keep on thinking, apparently, I've got my mind made up that if the thing can be done on a capital of 6 millions, that's the horse to put up money on. Why, Washington? But what's the use of talking about it? Any man can see that there's whole Atlantic oceans of cash in it, gulfs and bays thrown in. But there's a bigger thing than that, yet, a bigger. Why, Colonel, you can't want anything bigger, said Washington, his eyes blazing. Oh, I wish I could go into either of those speculations. I only wish I had money. I wish I wasn't cramped and kept down and fettered with poverty and such prodigious chances lying right here in sight. Oh, it is a fearful thing to be poor. But don't throw away those things. They are so splendid that I can see how sure they are. Don't throw them away for something still better and maybe fail in it. I wouldn't, Colonel. I would stick to these. I wish Father were here and were his old self again. Oh, he never in his life had such chances as these are. Colonel, you can't improve on these. No man can improve on them. A sweet, compassionate smile played about the Colonel's features, and he leaned over the table with the air of a man who is going to show you, and do it without the least trouble. Why, Washington, my boy, these things are nothing. They look large, of course they look large to a novice, but to a man who has been all his life accustomed to large operations, pshaw. They're well enough to while away an idle hour with, or furnish a bit of employment that will give a trifle of idle capital a chance to earn its bread while it is waiting for something to do. But now just listen a moment. Just let me give you an idea of what we old veterans of commerce call business. Here, the Rothschild's proposition. This is between you and me, you understand. Washington nodded 3 or 4 times impatiently, and his glowing eyes said, Yes, yes, hurry, I understand. For I wouldn't have it get out for a fortune. They want me to go in with them on the sly. Agent was here 2 weeks ago about it. Go in on the sly, voice down to an impressive whisper, now. And buy up 113 wildcat banks in Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois, and Missouri. Notes of these banks are at all sorts of discount now. Average discount of the 113 is 44%. Buy them all up, you see, and then all of a sudden let the cat out of the bag. Whiz. The stock of every one of those wildcats would spin up to a tremendous premium before you could turn a handspring. Profit on the speculation not $1 less than 40 millions. An eloquent pause while the marvelous vision settled into W's focus. Where's your hogs now? Why, my dear innocent boy, we would just sit down on the front doorsteps and peddle banks like Lucifer matches. Washington finally got his breath and said, Oh, it is perfectly wonderful. Why couldn't these things have happened in Father's day? And it's of no use. They simply lie before my face and mock me. There is nothing for me to do but to stand helpless and see other people reap the astonishing harvest. Never mind, Washington, don't you worry. Chapter 1. 100 fix you. There's plenty of chances. How much money have you got? In the presence of so many millions, Washington could not keep from blushing when he had to confess that he had but $18 in the world. Well, all right, don't despair. Other people had been obliged to begin with less. I have a small idea that may develop into something for us both, all in good time. Keep your money close and add to it. I make it breed. I've been experimenting, to pass away the time, on a little preparation for curing sore eyes. A kind of decoction 9/10 water and the other 10th drugs that don't cost more than $1 a barrel. I 1,000 still experimenting. There's one ingredient wanted yet to perfect the thing, and somehow I can't. Just manage to hit upon the thing that's necessary, and I don't dare talk with a chemist, of course. But I 1,000 progressing, and before many weeks I wager the country will ring with the fame of Beriah Sellers, infallible imperial oriental optic liniment and salvation for sore eyes, the medical wonder of the age. Small bottles 50 cents, large ones $1. Average cost 5 and 7 cents for the two sizes. The first year sell, say, 10,000 bottles in Missouri, 7,000 in Iowa, 3,000 in Arkansas, 4,000 in Kentucky, 6,000 in Illinois, and say 25,000 in the rest of the country. Total, 55,000 bottles, profit clear of all expenses, $20,000 at the very lowest calculation. All the capital needed is to manufacture the first 2,000 bottles, say $150. Then the money would begin to flow in. The second year, sales would reach 200,000 bottles, clear profit, say $75,000, and in the meantime the great factory would be building instant. Louis to cost, say, $100,000. The third year we could easily see 0 bottles in the United States and... "Oh, splendid," said Washington. "Let's commence right away, let's." 1 million bottles in the United States, profit at least $350,000, and then it would begin to be time to turn our attention toward the real idea of the business. The real idea of it. Ain't $350,000 a year pretty real?